Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everyone and welcome to Apex Online Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione Tier 2 Round 2 here at Suzuka. We are currently here today on board with a 37 car grid. I do not believe it has the grid size has increased since in the last 5 minutes. So it looks like we are one less driver than we were last week. And that should not matter because we will still get plenty of racing because this is still going to be a very full grid with some exciting action. So while we wait for the drivers to get started on their hot laps as the qualifying session only just begun, let's take a look back in the past now, where if we think back to last race, we are going to take a look at our current championship leader, Florian Bauer, who I don't see him here right now on my list. Oh, there he is. All right. Florian Bauer, speak of the devil, he is currently first in the queue to start his lap. He had an absolutely magnificent win around Monza where he battled Tom Ray here all the way until the last few minutes of the race and was able to steal the win after some late trouble to Ray here and his Ferrari. But either way, the German driver will be looking to make it 2 for 2 this week. But this track is completely different from Monza, as we all know. So I'll be curious to see what kind of action he can bring to the table. It's noticing the... Let me turn up my desktop volume a little bit. ACC is a little low. Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't get too loud. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like it's too loud. And hopefully it's not too quiet. So yeah, another thing to note today is from, according to the practice session, the pace setter was, where was he? I'm trying to work on this new layout I got for the stream settings. It was Connor Wright in the Aston Martin. He was over a half-second clear of the rest of the field. So I'm curious to see what he can do in the Aston Martin after finishing P15 last week at Monza. So hopefully the Aston Martin driver will be able to improve on his championship standings. But we still have a lot of racing to go. And it's only round 2, and they haven't even finished their first set of qualifying laps. As there is a kart that was off track in Sector 1, that was car number 41. They have returned to the pits by the looks of it. It's definitely hard to keep track. I saw the yellow flags. That was Pitchick in another Aston Martin. So he will have to go back out on track once again. He's got a little bit of a gap because the front of the queue right now is coming through 130R and through the final chicane. I'm going to have to pull up a track map. I do apologize. I'm not as versed around here as I am with Monza. There's Florian Bauer. It's not, I gotta wait until my broadcasting stuff catches up with how the drivers are organized right now since they're not organized where they are on track. But Florian Bauer will set the first time of a 159.6, which is provisional pole since he is the first one around the track. But Dennis Latz right on his tail once again. Latz, he started on the front row last week and actually ahead of Bauer, was now down to P3 as Nuri Kalyoungju, and that is the pronunciation I was given, has taken provisional pole. But, so let's keep an eye on this for now, as the Aston Martin does seem to be really quick around the track. Our early pace setter of Connor Wright is going to slot in to P3, an absolutely identical time to Florian Bauer, so he is up in the mix. So we'll have to see if he can improve on his time now. But Yeah, some very close action. There's only 500ths between the top 4 right now, and only 15 drivers have set a valid lap, as many of the drivers are currently crossing the line now. As we look down the order, Lima is down in P17, but I believe we have another driver who's up towards the front. Was it Toro Grossa? No. I think there was a little bit of an issue when the one car went off track early on, because there's a huge cluster in Sector 1 right now, and it's very hard to keep up with who's where. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on our pace setters right now, because we know Florian Bauer is currently heading the field, and he's currently P2. Connor Wright and Kalyan Guju are close behind, so we'll keep an eye on these drivers for now, with Dennis Last close in the background. We'll also keep an eye on Tom Wright here in the Ferrari. He had a great race last week, but had an incident as Florian Bauer is off the track on the exit of 130ER. That is going to be a lot of damage, and he is going to have to go back into the pits and try again. So let's keep an eye on what Kalyanju can do now. Going through the final chicane around the track, will they improve on their time? I don't have any sector splits. I might be missing one thing for the broadcasting, but either way, the Aston Martin, is going to come up to the line. He's going to see Alexander Irish steal provisional pole. Is there an answer? No, there's not, but Tom Ray here in the background will take provisional pole in his Ferrari. I was just talking about him, and look, there he goes in the Ferrari, but Connor Wright just absolutely obliterates the time that was set by Tom Ray here, and he is almost a half second clear of the rest of the field. The Aston Martin driver is looking like a class above right now, and we're only 7 minutes into the qualifying session as he returns back to the pits. Let's see, next across the line will be car 29 of Jack Simpson. He had a very good Monza race. Can he improve on P20? Yes, he can. He's up to P13, but over a second clear, or behind the rest of the group, as Pascal Di Lucia moves up into P7 behind him. Yes, he's right behind him as well. No other changes up in the top 5 of the order at this moment, as a lot of the drivers are coming around the line right now. So keep an eye on our timing streams as Di Lucia returns back into the pits. July Sorp currently coming through the final chicane as well. Will they improve on their time? Sorp last week started P5 around Monza, but then dropped down the order and ended up finishing, I believe, 19th. Yes, 19th was where they finished. Currently still P9. Not much improvement right now, but hopefully Sorp will have a much better outing today than they did last time around. Looking through, we got car 69 coming out of the final corner now. Where is that on my Delta? That is Stuart McLeod. McLeod crossed the line and come P27 provisionally in the Honda. So McLeod had actually a very good Monza showing, finishing 14th after starting way down the order in that Honda. So hopefully he can repeat what he did at Monza, but it'll be a lot trickier overtaking around this track, as we all know. Looking back towards the front right now, Tom right here is still on track. Not sure on if he's improved on his time just yet, but we'll keep an eye on him now, as drivers got 6.5 minutes to set any more laps that they want to do now, as Kalyanju is currently into the pits and in P2 with a very small gap to Ray here. So Ray here knows he can, I think P2 is definitely up for grabs, but finding a half second around this track may be difficult for some drivers. So we'll have to wait and see what they can do, as there's a second gap between P1 and P14. Car 64 is currently in down the order. Justin Hooley has not set a time yet, so he's P36, but he's going to come across the line, hopefully set a valid lap time, and Hooley will cross the line and jump to P29. So an alright start for the Ferrari driver. We'll have to see if Hooley can improve on his position. Justin did not race last race. He did not race at Monza by the looks of it. So we'll have to keep an eye on what he can do. He is from, so let's give a look, he's from Britain. He's another British driver. He's not a rookie. He's driving the Ferrari 488 GT3E. So welcome, Justin Hooley, to the rest of the grid. Speaking of the rest of the grid, there is one important thing we need to see, and that is July Sorp just went P2. Sorp, once again, showing some pretty good speed in qualifying, like at Monza, and has closed the gap on Connor Wright. Not closed it a lot, but it's closed it a little bit. So if Sorp can take this qualifying pace and put it into the race, I'm hoping to see a lot better outing and hopefully a better finish than P19. So we'll have to hope and keep an eye on this car 555 and see what the Mercedes can do. Now, I do have another update. Paweł Jarzembowski, let's see where he is at in the order, because he has a drive-through for today. He has not set a lap. I don't know if he will set a lap in qualifying. There's no indication of a quality ban, but there was informed that he will have a drive-through enforced in the race, so he might think that it's better just to sit in the pits. The other one sitting in the pits right now is Alan Rake. Well, he is not in the pits anymore. That was just another stationary car. Rake is the last of the drivers to set a valid lap time. Waiting till 4 minutes and 15 seconds left in the session is probably not ideal, but Rake will cross the line with what I would assume to be a valid lap and will jump to P35, so not much improvement from P38. But if you can notice, there's a 3-second gap between P1 and P37. P1, speaking of which, is still Connor Wright, but with only a 10th clear of Ole Pitchich, who is currently in P2, once again in the Aston Martin. Can Pitchich have something to say? No, because they are currently behind Wright, so that lap was just recently set. But now we got 3 minutes and 40 seconds left as Pitchich is backing off, looking to wait for one more lap to go through. Gillian Hardenberg is up to P4 as well in the Ferrari. So some of our top championship runners have dropped down the order. Florian Bauer is down in P9. Tom Ray here, P6. And the other top finisher, Dennis Latz, is P8. And the third place finisher, our other podium driver, Jack Simpson, all the way down to P22. So this is very nice to see that this field is not going to just be dominated by 1 or 2 drivers, because clearly the top 4 finishers who basically dominated last race are not within the top 5. Close, but not quite. So I'm very excited to see what the race can bring for us today. Also, please let me know if the quality's good for the stream as well. I changed the resolution. I lowered it to 720, but upped the bit rate. I'm going to compare it post-stream to see how it compares and see which I liked better. But for now, we're going to keep an eye on, like, you know, hopefully this is a little smoother. Some advice I was given, so if it looks better or worse, just let me know, and yeah, I'll keep working on optimizing things as well. So just like I've kind of figured out how to switch between drivers without leaving the broadcasting view, so making some strides right now. Speaking of making strides, Gillian Hardenberg's going through the final chicane now. Will Hardenberg improve on their time? Only 2:17 left, so they should have enough time for 2 more laps by the time they cross the finish line. Just barely, but they will. Will Hardenberg improve on P4 across the line? And yes, Hardenberg goes P3, but is 12 thousandths away from P2 and only 17 tenths away, no, 1700ths, excuse me, away from pole. Hardenberg on the charge right now. That drops Sorp down to P4. Not much else is changing. Connor Wright is in the pits right now. His session is as good as done, so he does not feel he can improve. Excuse me, as he does not have enough time to get around the track again. Pitchich comes across the line. Will they improve and steal pole provisionally? No. No improvement on that lap. He has time for 1 more lap. So can Ole do it? Can he dethrone Connor Wright? We'll keep an eye on him now as he's currently in the first sector. Looking elsewhere, Alex Torregrossa in P4 is right behind Pitchich. July Sorp in P5. Where are they at? They're about coming into 130R. Yes, July Sorp's coming in to 130R. Hard to tell who's behind her. I might be the car 64. It's a little laggy. Okay. Okay, I do see that. Let me see if I can lower the bit rate now without having to reset the stream. Yeah, we'll lower it to like, yeah, we'll just do that for now. Okay, that might be a little better. Yeah, let's keep an eye on that. But July Sorp, while I was fixing that, has jumped up to the P2 and is now 700ths away from pole. Sorp has time to do 1 more lap, so if they can nail it, they can steal pole from Connor Wright. Down the order, Pitchich now is currently in the middle sector, coming up to the 3rd sector. Pitchich, can they steal provisional pole? Tom right here is up to P5. He is currently in the second sector as well on his final lap. But let's keep an eye on the drivers now in the final sector. Our championship leader, Florian Bauer, is going to come across the line. I think he'll have enough time to do one more lap. Currently sitting in P12 is not where he wants to be. Will Bauer improve on his time? No, he will not. But he will be the last driver who can start one more lap. Now, looking at the front runners, the first one in the final sector is going to be, it's hard to tell with these pretty big numbers. We're just going to have to go with it. I believe it will be Ole Pitschich, who's coming out of the final corner now. Can Pitschich possibly steal pole? Hugging the right-hand side of the track now. Will Pitschich improve on P3? No. No, they will not. Car 64, speaking of which, in the background now, is currently Justin Hooley is in P18, so let's keep an eye on him as well, since there seems to be some fans in the crowd. I believe Gillian Hardenberg's back into the pits. Can July Sorp improve on their position? Coming up to 130R now. We'll keep an eye on it. Can Sorp steal pole position from Connor Wright? Sorp loses the back end a little bit out of 130R. Will that cost them too much time? Not sure. Coming through the final chicane and out of the final corner right now. Sorp. Hard to tell if they're flying. Hard to tell. Sorp coming up to the line. Will they steal pole position at Suzuka? No, they will not. It looks like the pole position is Connor Wright's unless Milicic can improve by 0.6. Florian Bauer is still on a lap right now. He is the last driver on a lap. So keep an eye on Milicic right now. Milicic back into the pits. The next driver out is car number 32. Who is the legs of Ben Blakemore down the order in the Bentley and currently sitting in P25. He's going to come across the line. And will he improve on P25? Yes, he goes all the way up to P16. He's right behind Florian Bauer, but Florian Bauer coming up to the line. Can he improve from P15? He goes all the way up to P3. That is a half-second improvement, and an amazing lap by Florian Bauer puts him into third. Our championship leader with an absolutely amazing final qualifying lap. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our starting order with Connor Wright, our pole sitter, after setting an insane lap early on in the session of a 159.022, has stolen pole position. July Sorp sitting in P2 right now. So keep an eye. I think the better view right now would be to go to the helicam. Yeah, let's give a little bit of more, kind of a little more love to these cars directly. It's a little better to see. So currently our pole sitter is Connor Wright, back to the front in the Aston Martin, car number 59. Connor Wright with his first pole of the season. The British driver looking to make a statement today. July Sorp, currently P2, the rookie driver, looking to have a much better finish than the last race from Moldova. After finishing P19 and starting P5, Sorp on the front row this time, so they can get a good launch from the start and get better acceleration than Wright. Sorp might have the chance to set the pace for the session. Florian Bauer, P3, our championship leader. The German driver looking to have another strong showing, but it's gonna be really tricky because he's got two really quick drivers in front of him and Pitschich to his left, who will definitely be competitive. At least that's what it seems from qualifying, so we'll see if the momentum carries through. Pitschich in P4, the Swedish driver, who I'm not sure, he finished P17 last race. Not sure where they started. I need to pull up starting finish, but Pitschich definitely looking to have a much better race than P17. And fifth place, Gillian Hardenberg, the Dutch driver in the rookie Dutch driver in the Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo, who had not an impressive showing last week, scoring 2 points. So that's the least amount of points you can score after finishing P30, but hey, points are points and looking to improve on that. Another Ferrari driver, Tom Ray here, who was on track to win the race until Florian Bauer produced an excellent overcut last race. He's currently sitting P6, and the Ferrari driver is looking to improve on his P4 from last race after getting damage and then spinning off again on the exit of Ascari. In 7th place, we have Alex Torregrossa in the Mercedes AMG GT3. The Mercedes very strong around this track indeed. Torregrossa, who finished P13 last race, looking to improve on that result. P8, Nuri Kalanju, who is towards the front at the beginning of the qualifying session, but wasn't really able to improve that much. So we'll keep an eye on them as well, as the Aston Martins do also seem click around the track. Alexander Irish in P9. We talked about the German driver a lot last race, as he was in a lot of battles in the middle of the field. So curious to see if Irish will give us as much entertainment today as he did last week. Sir Williams in P10, the rookie driver from the United States of America, having a much better qualifying session in that McLaren than last race. Hopefully Sir Williams, for his sake, can improve from his P22 championship standing. Nico Ull, one of the Bentley drivers, had a very strong race last race. After starting in about P16, P17, worked his way all the way up to P7. Him and his teammate Dakuza had a very strong race. In P12, Dennis Latz, who finished P2 and is our second place driver in the championship, is all the way down in P12. The Ferrari number 5 driver, who's must be thinking, damn, like this is just not what happened last week. Hopefully they can improve on it. P13, Justin Hooley in his first race of the season. He had a very good late qualifying session, as he was able to jump up to P13 after not setting lap times until halfway into the session. P14, Andy Vandervelde, the British driver who's currently starting 14th in the McLaren. He finished P10 last race at Monza, and I'm sure he's looking to keep that momentum going. Dejan Militic, P15. We saw him battling a lot with Alexander Irish last race in the McLaren as well. Curious to see if he'll be able to catch up to Irish and continue that battle. Ben Blakemore down in P16 in another Bentley. The number 32 Bentley, the British driver, is looking to have another good race, as we saw him a decent amount last race, but he only finished P21. So I'm looking to see if he can improve on it. Marlon Andrade, who looked like he had a chance to storm to the front with his McLaren 650S, and then he took damage that apparently he said he took it off stream, according thankfully to his sake. But Andrade is looking to improve on that P17 and hopefully mount another fantastic charge through the field like he did last week, but hopefully he's able to keep it on track and not drop down the order with damage. Next car on the grid is Tobias Gebhardt in the Audi, the number 34 Audi. We saw him a few times last week as well. He finished, where did he finish? Gebhardt finished, I have a page cut off. Not sure where he's at. I know we talked about him last race, but the Audi driver's going to be looking to have a strong showing as well. The rookie driver. Next in the order, we have Adam Dubiel in the Ferrari. The Polish driver, another rookie in the field in the Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo, looking to have another good race. Pasquale Di Lucia down in P20. He finished P5 last race in the Ferrari. He was able to storm through the field late, especially after there were some issues with drivers ahead of him, and he had a really strong second stint, and hopefully he can keep that momentum going. But starting in P20 is going to be very hard to improve on the time. John Sebastian Casanega is down in P21. Sebastian Casanega finished way down the order after starting strong, and I believe they spun out at some point during the race. P22, we have James Cowley in the Lexus. And then P23, we have Jay Fang, the Chinese driver, who finished P11 and had a very strong first race of their AOR career last week. Looking to improve on it. Dakuza down in P24, looking to have another strong race through the field in his Bentley. Not the best qualifying session, but hey, we'll see if Dakuza can work his way through the field once again. But he doesn't have his Bentley teammate with him to help him out. In P25, we have Samir Foch in the Ferrari number 8 car. Foch finished last race. Sorry, a couple of these drivers got cut off. He's P24, so he is about the same position that he qualified in he finished last time around. So hopefully, hey, he can get some more points than he did last time. John Climbs is down in P26 in the Porsche. I believe the only Porsche driver in the field. In P27 is Simon Ramsayer. Ramsayer finished P6 last race. Another driver who is really down the order, surprisingly. Speaking of really down the order, surprisingly, Jack Simpson is P28 in his Lamborghini after getting a podium last week. I look forward to seeing him work through the field, but I don't know why he's so far down the order. P29 is Henry Vertinen in the McLaren. P30 is Shooter 80, or as I like to call him last race, Scooter. So we'll see if Shooter can improve on it. P31, Mario Marin. P32, Stuart McLeod. 33, Franz Pedrozzini. P34, Chris Jones. P35, Paul Lima. P36, Alan Rake, the only non-Ferrari Evo driver. P37, the Chinese driver Chen. And P38 is Paolo Jarzabowski, who has a drive-through. So good luck to all the drivers today as they come out of the final corner now. Connor Wright will lead the field up to the line as we wait for the green flags. We'll see what happens when they go out. Can Wright keep the lead that he has right now, or will Sorp tape him around the outside? We'll wait for the lights to go out. I'll take a sip of my coffee now as they come up to the start-finish line now. Will the lights go out? Now it is green flags. Go, go, go. We are underway at Suzuka. As Connor Wright says he's got a drive-through already. Not sure how that is possible. Same with Ben Blakemore. But July Sorp going around the outside through turn 1. They're side by side on exit. Sorp loses the rear end a little bit. They're still side by side, but Connor Wright will sweep around the outside and retake the lead. As Florian Bauer is currently in P3, with Pitchich holding P4. Hardenberg down the order in P5. No, P6. He got overtaken by right here into turn 1. But Connor Wright, it shows he has a drive-through off the line. Not sure how that's possible in the formation lap. I do not recall. But if he does have to serve that, it would be a huge disappointment as the order currently is shuffling right now. That's a little funky. Yeah, not sure why it says Connor Wright has a drive-through. We'll have to keep an eye on it. The deltas are going all haywire. It shows Stuart McLeod in P1, but we know Connor Wright is currently leading the field. There it goes. It resets it a little bit. That was very strange. As they are going about double file, almost triple file, all the way in the background through the hairpin. That is some miraculous driving. The fact that they all came out damage-free is pretty insane. Let's look down the order. We got one of the Bentleys is alongside. It's hard to keep up with who's who. As Ben Blakemore made the move around Grabhart into Spoon, and Blakemore up into what I believe is P15. We'll have to wait for the deltas to update. But they're all single file going to 130R. Connor Wright leading the way with Sorp and Florian Bauer right behind him. He's going to have to get a move on. Florian Bauer switches to the left-hand side of the trap. Sorp goes defensive. Will Bauer make the move on Sorp? Sorp's leaving him the space. Sorp was fully ahead, but now Bauer's under pressure by Pitchich as Connor Wright has just been released. We have a 3, maybe 4-car battle for second place. They are all slipstreaming each other. Let's go on board with Bauer. Bauer now. It doesn't look like Pitchich is close enough. And the background right here is really close. As under braking, they get really close to each other. But no moves were done into turn 1 as Wright has kind of been unleashed. He's got a 1-second lead over the rest of the field. And Sorp is kind of a cork in the bottle. That's kind of what I was talking about. Sorp can do that. Now, fortunately, Wright was able to get away, but Sorp's just going to have to hold on for the best if they want to keep this podium now. Looking down the order, let's keep an eye and see some kind of changes. Sir Williams has dropped 2 positions. Justin Hooley is up into P11 now. He's flying right now in that Ferrari. He's got Nico Ull in front of him. We know Ull is really good once the race starts. Down the order, Marlon Andrade is up to P16 right now. He's had a pretty good start so far and is looking to continue improving on that right now as the drivers go single file through the field. The Delta's updating on my stream right now, left and right and center. It's still very hard to keep up track. Not sure why. It's because I got to hit drive. That's why I don't have the mini-map. That would explain a lot. Whoopsies there. That's why the chat was there. I do apologize. We have a car in the pit, the number 69 car of Paweł Jarzabowski. No, that's Stuart McLeod, who's in the pits right now. He has a completely destroyed front end. Not sure what happened there. Ben Blakemore is also way down the order. We saw him moving up through the field. He is way down the order. Not sure if he had a pit or anything, but it is very unfortunate to see the Bentley driver who was in the top 15 now up the order. As we go back up towards the front. Connor Wright has been unleashed once again. Sorp is starting to pull them in. Middle sector, they were 1.6 between them. Now Sorp only 0.8 behind and closing the gap. But Bauer all over the rear end of Sorp. Will Bauer try to make the move into turn 1. We are on lap number 3 now. They've done 2 full laps. Bauer doesn't really seem to have that much seems to have too much downforce in that they cannot make the move into turn 1, which is the primary overtaking zone. In the background now, Rayer's going side by side with Torregrossa as Torregrossa makes a sweeping move around the outside. Torregrossa was P7 at one point and is now up to P5 with a double overtake down the front straight. Alex Torregrossa is on the move in the Mercedes. The Mercedes, which are very fast around this track, are proven to is true with the newer model Mercedes. But the Ferrari right here, right on Torregrossa's tail now, as they go into the middle sector. All the cars are just hitting that little bit of sausage curb, and right here's all over the back of Torregrossa now. We can take a little closer look. I do like this behind the mirror cam, because you can just show how close these drivers get to each other. I mean, under braking, it looks like Ray here's just pushing Torregrossa through the corner, and you can see everyone else in the background doing the same thing. It looked like Sir Williams went very wide there, and now he's under threat from Dennis Latz. Latz trying to go around the outside, but Latz is going to have to fall back in as the McLaren driver just has that little bit of better straight line speed. But will Latz try to go in the inside of Spoon? No, but there is contact. Latz sends Sir Williams into a half spin, which opens up the door for Vandervelde. Vandervelde is going to make the move on Latz, and then Sir Williams gets loose on the exit of Spoon. Will we see them battle going into 130R? It looks like Vandervelde's gaining a little bit on Sir Williams. Dennis Latz goes to the right-hand side of the track, but I don't think he'll try to make a move. No, he will back out of it on entry of 130R, and they will hold position. But Latz is now under threat from Milicic from behind. Dejan Milicic goes around the outside. We had a car off track in front of them. I missed who that was, as these two go side by side, and Latz is up into P15. I'm not sure who just dropped down the order, who was up towards the front, as Connor Wright comes into the pits to serve as drive-through, our former race leader, way down the order. The car that was into the wall was the 64 car of Justin Hooley. Not sure how we ended up there. We saw him in the wall as we were watching the cars battle out of 130R. So Hooley, after having a really good start and moving into the top 10, is now way down the order. As he comes into the pits, he must certainly have damage. Looks like his car is rocky, might have some suspension damage. So that is heartbreaking for the Ferrari driver. But up towards the front, July Sorp is now our new race leader in the Mercedes. Sorp having a fantastic start to the race. Blake Moore did have a drive-through. Yeah, you're right. I did notice that at the start. I did pull that out. That is my bad. I forgot about that. I still don't know what caused the drive-through, because you don't get it. I know you start from the pit lane if you don't hit drive, but I'm not sure what they were called. The only driver, again, who I knew had a actual drive-through that was from a previous race was Jarbikoski. So unless there was 2 other drive-throughs handed out from stewarding that I wasn't told about, that is all news to me. But let's keep an eye on the action up front now with Sorp. He's got a half second on Bauer, but then Bauer's got 1.6 seconds on Ole Pitschich. Pitschich trying to keep up with the front runners and had a pretty quick qualifying, but the Mercedes just looked really quick in race trim, especially considering the fact that Alex Torregrossa is in his rear view mirror right now. Can you speed too much? Yeah, okay, yeah, true. If he's going over 70 kilometers per hour, I believe it is, yeah, I guess that could give you a drive-through. So if Connor Wright has lost his race because of the fact that he sped too much at the start, that would do it. Yeah, you're right. I did not remember that for some reason. One thing I just noticed down the order as well, seems to be Shooter is up to P18. Let me see if I can find him. Yes, the BMW driver, the lone one in the field, is up to P18 right now. He's had a really good start. Behind him, Sir Williams down to P19. There's a cork in the bottle. He's really dropped down the order with Jack Simpson making the move on him down the front straight. Simpson, who started really far down the order, on the charge right now. He's up into P19 in the background. Yes, he will be up to P19 come turn 1. Sir Williams tries to defend around the outside, but no. Sir Williams will hold the lead, but Sir Williams loses the rear end. Simpson makes contact, and Sir Williams is off the track. He's able to keep going, but that's going to give Simpson a little bit of front end damage. And now Sir Williams is off the track after completely losing the rear end. We had another car off track as well. Not sure who that was. That's a white car of someone who just returned to the pits. That was the number 80 car. Who was that? I saw them off. I don't think that was Adam DeBeal. Yeah, it just says 80. Could that have been... That was Dakuza. Yeah, Dakuza spun off the track. Not sure what happened there, but Dakuza is now in P34, and so much for charging through the field. The Bentley driver has had their day ruined as well. So, a lot of drivers falling victim to Suzuka's... Well, the whole track, I'd say the S section, but the whole track is taking victims left and right. Excuse me, but... Who's not a victim right now is Sorp, who is currently leading the race and showing some phenomenal pace. Again, Sorp last week started P5, but then dropped way down the order at Monza. And so that was one of the things where it's like, all right, one lap pace was great, but, you know, in the race, not so much. Sorp coming back this week, showing what they can do, and it's looking so good so far. We are 10 minutes into the race. Someone else to know who's having a good race so far, Marlon Andrade, down in P11 now. He's carved himself a few positions, and he is on the back of another McLaren Drive Milicic, who he had to get around last week as well. So if Andrade's learned anything, he knows how to get around Milicic, and he might be able to get up to P10. Nico Ull, currently in P9 as well. He's moving up the order slowly as well. Some of these drivers had some pretty good starts. I mean, yes, these guys did benefit from Connor Wright having his drive-throughs. We have the number 69 car off in the background right now. Stuart McLeod once again off the track. The Honda driver having his day go from bad to worse. Not what Honda wants to see at their home Grand Prix. And I'm sure that he is disappointed with how his day has gone so far. But yes, go Scooter indeed. Let's take a look once again at that BMW. We're just going to give him a spotlight every once in a while because it is just fun to look at Scooter's car. As you got the 177 BMW, not my favorite car on the grid, but he's driving it very nicely today. He's up to P16 after starting down the order. He's got Jack Simpson right behind him. Simpson, who's mighty quick, but has a little bit of front end damage from the contact with Sir Williams early on. So we'll have to keep an eye on Simpson if he's able to continue carving the field right now. But right now, it is looking like the Mercedes are the class of the field with Alex Torregrossa sitting in fourth place. We've got a battle in the background. Looks like Alexander Irish is going alongside Nuri jeez, I gotta work on the pronunciation. Kanyalju. They're going side by side in the spoon, and Irish will hold on, will take the position actually. It looks like away. So Irish is up to P7 now. He's made another position. He is having a good race so far in his McLaren. He's also got Nico Ull in the background as well. Also got a three-way battle for P7, and the three of them not really losing time to the drivers ahead while battling, so that's probably smart for all of them. But one thing to note now is Ole Pitschich has dropped 2.5 seconds to the top two. So Bauer and Sorp starting to pull away in their McLaren, or Mercedes, excuse me, and having a good stint. But coming out of the pits now is Sir Williams. He'll provide himself as lap traffic for the rest of this field as Dakuza gets a stop-go 32nd. Not sure what that was for, but he is now behind Stuart McLeod, and his day is going worse than the Honda drivers. So Dakuza, one of the coordinators, not having a good day at all. But looking through the field now, it looks like we can see in the background. Let's take a look at some other battles on track. We got a close battle between Fang. What is Jay Fang doing right now? He is currently with Chen. He is actually battling Chen, the two Chinese drivers going side by side down the front straight, and Fang is up to P26, takes the position away from his fellow countrymen, and he is looking to improve after having a very low qualifying starting position. But he still has Connor Wright ahead of him. Connor Wright we're going to have to keep an eye on as well, with that drive-through dropping him way down the order. But the pace he showed was just phenomenal in qualifying. He's able to do that early on before the track really rubbered down. So Wright is still one to look out for. I don't think a win or a podium is on the table, but Wright might be able to steal top 15 if he can charge his way through the field. But he's still got some fast guys ahead of him like Simpson and Casanega and the likes of other drivers as well. So keep an eye on Wright as well. In front of him, Jan Climbs, currently in the mix of a battle right now in his Porsche. Three-way battle for P21 with Vertanen at the front of the queue. Let's go on board with him now in the Porsche. The very high-pitched engine sound that I am familiar with from previous racing. I think it sounds very beautiful. Some other people would beg to differ, but either way, the Porsche coming to the exit of Spoon will not get the best straight line speed, which is definitely going to hurt Climbs' race throughout the race. So, an unfortunate disadvantage about the Porsche, but you know, it's got its ups and downs. But going back through the order right now, let's keep an eye on the battle for 4th place. Right here is still on the rear end of Toro Grosso. We had a Bentley coming out of the pits that might have been D'Cusa again, who had to stop go 30 seconds. So he is once again down the order. He's off the track right now, yielding for drivers as well in the background. But let's keep an eye on this battle for 4th place, where it's very hard to get, as D'Cusa is making his own track right now. You can see that in the background. He was off track going to Narnia by the looks of it. So that was definitely interesting to see in the background. But anyways, back to the battle on track right now. Right here, we saw him do this to Bauer. And we've seen him do that, well, Bauer, and then he was doing it to Simpson as well, and Lance, because he was down in 4th at one point, where he's able to ride really close to guys. As Sir Williams is off the track in front of him, and he's going to be lap traffic, so he's going to have to stay off the track to stay out of the way of these cars battling, as there's a loose Aston Martin in the background right here, all on the rear end of Toro Grosso, but he's not looking to make the move at the moment. He might be waiting to make it in the pit stop area, but if he wants to have a chance at stealing a podium, he's going to have to clear Toro Grosso and start to run down the Aston Martin of Pitchich ahead. Looking down the order as well, there's a close battle. Andrade is currently on the back of Milicic. The two of them, you know, neck and neck. He's going to go for the inside into Spoon. No, he thinks better of it. But will he get a better launch out of Spoon and possibly think of a move into 130R, even into the chicane? We'll have to keep an eye on it. He's got a pretty clean run on the exit, but it looks like Milicic did get a really good run as well. So we'll see if Andrade can gain a little bit more. He's not really close enough to make the move into 130R. Will he be brave enough to do it under braking? He loses a little bit of time in 130R, and yes, he will not be close enough, as the McLaren ahead of him, that 720 McLaren, was gets a better launch through 130R, and that's definitely not going to help Andrade's race if he's going to stay behind this McLaren, as they're now 3.2 seconds behind the Bentley of Nico Ull. So speaking of the Bentley, he's dropped off a little bit of the battle ahead of him of Karyanju and Alexander Irish, who, after Irish made the move on Karyanju, he's kind of just nestled in behind, or ahead of him, and hasn't really put on a charge for the drivers ahead. So we'll keep an eye on it, because there's a lot of just stationary gaps. Speaking of gaps, there's only a 10th between James Cowley and Adam Dubiel. Not sure if they swap positions. It looks like they might have. No, they have not. Dubiel looks like he's right ahead. Let's keep an eye. No, they did. Okay. So the deltas did not update. James Cowley is up to P13. Adam Dubiel down to P14. There's just a lot of Ferraris in the area where it's just hard to tell who's where. But Adam Dubiel has dropped to 14. James Cowley in the Lexus up to P13 right now. But he is in a Ferrari sandwich right now. And if the Ferraris like to work together, it might hurt Cowley's progress through the field. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Yeah, but there's not a whole lot going on track right now. It looks like Japan is not giving us as many overtakes as Monza did, unfortunately. So we'll just keep an eye on the front runners right now with July Sorp once again. 1.7 seconds ahead. Hasn't really pulled away from Bauer just yet. The gaps have kind of been similar. Bauer, who, again, we know he's championship leader right now, currently P2, and put in a wicked final qualifying lap, is showing some really strong race pace right now, but hasn't really been able to catch up to Sorp, and actually has lost time to Pitchich behind. So the Mercedes was really good early stint. We'll have to keep an eye how they do late stint. Marlon Andrade was once again really close to Milicic at the sector mark, but going into the final chicane, nothing doing for Andrade, so the Brazilian's going to have to find a way around him as they keep losing time to Nico Ull. They lost 4/10 that lap. So maybe even more. Yes, they lost 4/10 that lap because it was 3.2 at the start. So Andrade kind of stuck there behind a fellow McLaren driver. Looking in the field, we got a little bit of a cluster coming out of the last chicane right now. In the likes of Samir Foch, who is behind the two Chinese drivers, with Ben Blakemore currently listed as behind. I'm not sure who that. No, Simon Ramsayer. So Foch did make the move on Ramsayer. And now Foch is up to P27. The two Chinese drivers ahead, neck and neck of Chen and Jay Feng. But neither of them will try to make a move through the S section, as there is just no real spot where you can make a move there, unfortunately, to give us some breathtaking overtakes. Looking up to P18 now, Paulo Lima in the McLaren, having an alright showing so far. Lima, who last race finished P31. So this is close to half of his placement from last time. And I'm sure Paulo would love, the Portuguese driver, would love to improve on his position even more. But he's got Jack Simpson ahead, and he's got a huge train of cars behind him with Connor Wright in P21. Wright, who's kind of been carving through the field. Last time we looked at him, he was P25. Now he's P21. He's got a best lap of a 2-minute flat 0.6. So he's flying right now. His last lap, he was held up by over half a second. But Wright is kind of sucks. Or it's kind of stuck, sorry. Kind of sucks. It's very fast. He's kind of stuck. Got the T there. So, yeah, but compared to the race leader right now, his pace, he was at a 2:01 last lap. July Sorp got almost a second on him last lap. So, Sorp, who's now got 2.5 seconds to Bauer, is flying right now and holding very nice pace on the Mercedes. But down the order, likes of Connor Wright and anyone else who's kind of stuck in the field is losing close to a second a lap to our race leaders, who are looking like they're uncontested, as there's a spin-off in the background. We got the 533 car of... Why is no one showing up on my Delta? Not sure who that was. There was a car off track. So it has someone listed as 533. I can't figure out who that is. Sir Williams. Okay. He wasn't showing up on my Delta. He was off the track. He had a little bit of a spin, by the looks of it, once again through the first two corners. And his day has just not gone well at all after starting P10. The American driver just not having it. He goes on the inside of the Ferrari. I don't believe this is a battle for position, because that is not Justin Hooley. And he will not improve on his position at this time. He will stay put with Jack Simpson in the background and Shooter 80 ahead. So, looking back through the field now, let's take a look at, let's give another driver some attention today while everyone's kind of stationary. Let's go Frank Pedrazzini. He is currently sitting in P21 in the Audi. He is the lone Audi in the field, I believe. No, he's one of two Audis. But he's one of two Audis. Gerhardt's in the other Audi. I do apologize for the mistake there. And Pedrazzini is currently in P21. Having an alright race. Nothing special for sure, but we'll have to wait and see. He did not race last week as well, so he is a newcomer for us. He is from France, and he's listed as a reserve driver, so this is his first race of the season. We don't know how often we'll see him this season, but hopefully we get to see him more. SP21 is not a bad first race so far, but he's got some quick drivers around him who he's trying to compete with. Speaking of quick, he's got Connor right in front of him, who's worked up to 20th now, but he is into the pits looking to get a little bit of an undercut, as he's just getting held up a lot by the driver's head. The second time he's in the pits now. Connor Wright will keep an eye where he comes out at. Andrade is also into the pits ahead. He is also looking to make the undercut work as well. We got 37 minutes left in the race, so curious to see who decides to go long and who does not. But that should... We'll have to see if Alexander Irish will feel like he's not under pressure anymore. No, it wasn't Irish. Sorry, it was Milicic. It was Dejan Milicic. See if he will drive a little faster now that he's not under pressure. He did a 2:01.9 last lap. As he's got a car up ahead, looks like it's a lapped car of... Yeah, someone who just returned to the pits. So that was a lapped car. That was not forward position, unfortunately, for Milicic. But anyways, Milicic currently in P10. He's got a Bentley behind him. I don't think that's Nico Ohl. Nico Ohl's ahead. That's D'Acusa, by the looks of it. So he's got the lap D'Acusa, but Nico Ohl, his teammate, up into P9 now. In the number 45 Bentley, he's having a pretty good race so far. Gets a little squirty on the exit of Spoon. Don't want to really be doing that, but he's slowly trying to close down the 2 cars ahead after falling off a little bit. So, speaking of falling off a little bit, Florian Bauer is 3.8 seconds behind July Sorp. July Sorp is just gone. Sorp has not been contested. Last lap, Sorp was 8/10 faster than Florian Bauer. We'll see what happens when the Delta updates for this current lap. This current lap, it was 9/10. So Sorp in the last 2 laps has gained 1.7 seconds on Bauer. Tom Rahier is into the pits. The Ferrari driver now looking to make the undercut. Nico Ohl into the pits as well. Dejan Milicic, who is responding to Marlon Andrade. So let's keep an eye on Andrade, because that was one of our really close battles on track. Andrade, who's currently down the order in P25. We're going to keep an eye on his progress now. He's got, I believe that is Jarzabkowski in front of him. Yes, that is Jarzabkowski, who had to start the race with a drive-through. He might be a cork in the bottle for Andrade in making this undercut work, but we'll have to wait and see now, as there's a very long pit stop, as they have to wait 30 seconds for their tires to change and for them to be stationary, and the pit lane is pretty slow. So let's keep an eye with Andrade now. He's on the rear end of Jarzabkowski. Andrade's going to have to clear him on the front straight now, otherwise this is just going to hurt his race overall, as he's losing time because of the Ferrari driver. The number 2 car is leaving the pits now. That would be Tom Ray here. The Ferrari heads into the pits. Where is Dejan Milicic? He's leaving the pit lane now. Will he stay ahead of Marlon Andrade? Andrade is going to have him cleared by a long shot. As you can see, Andrade's McLaren is nowhere to be seen. And Andrade has made the undercut work by a mile by the looks of it. So I'm not sure if Milicic had an issue, but Andrade is now not far behind Nico Ohl. So even though he was held up a little bit by the Ferrari driver, he's had a superb out lap. And the McLaren driver up to what would be provisional P10 after the pit stop. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll also keep an eye on the fact if Alex Torgrosa will dive into the pits now. Will he respond to Tom Rahier? No, he will not. Will Gillian Hardenberg? No. But Florian Bauer and Ole Pitschich going into the pits now, looking for the undercut after being once again almost a second a lap slower than our race leader, July Sorp, who is still once again flying up ahead. But a lot of the drivers now into the pits. We got Pasquale Di Lucia to the pits. There's a wreck out on the pit entrance, and Shooter gets hit because of the wrecked. Not sure who that is. It's the McLaren. It's the 120 Aston Martin, actually. Sorry, that is Nuri Kalanju, who was having a phenomenal race, but then went sideways into the pit entrance. Got tagged by Shooter, and now Nuri is going to have to repair some damage in the pits, as there's a little bit of bodywork damage on the front end of the car, and I'm sure Shooter is fuming right now, as he just ran into a car on the pit entrance after thinking, hey, I can get a nice undercut here, but no. He will drop down a little bit as well. So we'll keep an eye now on Tom Ray here, who is currently sitting in a nice P. I saw him. We also saw him come out of the pits. There he is. P20. Will he make an undercut work on some of the drivers ahead? There's Florian Bauer leaving the pits. There is the Aston Martin of Ole Pitschich. And here comes Tom Ray here. So Alex Torgrosa now needs to come in, because by the looks of it, Ray here has the undercut done. Rahier is only about a second behind Pitschich now after leaving the pits. Another battle we're looking at with Nico Ohl. Where will he come out on track? He's going to be... Oh, no, he's already out. Sorry. He is right in front of Andrade. Milicic is behind Andrade. Pasquale Di Lucia has got a little bit of a gap. No, Di Lucia hasn't updated, excuse me. He is farther behind the likes of the drivers ahead. We'll just have to wait for these this stuff to update until I can give you an order. But July Sorp, our race leader, is into the pits now. That is something I can update you on. They had a 9-second gap over Alex Torgrosa, who's also in the pits, along with Gillian Hardenberg in the background. So who was the top three are all into the pits, and now all eyes are on Florian Bauer and Ole Pitschich. Can they close that gap on Sorp and have an absolutely magnificent outlap? And can Tom Ray here spice things up with his Ferrari? We know he was right behind Torgrosa. He's now right behind Ole Pitschich, who with Aston Martin needs to get a move on because he's got the Ferrari right behind him. So, yes, the undercut is looking really good around here, but July Sorp was going almost a second a lap faster than everyone else at some point. But Torgrosa did a sub 201, so that is definitely still one thing to look out for. Torgrosa has shown a lot of pace, and if some of these drivers drop off, Torgrosa is not one to sleep on as the race goes on. But Ole Pitschich now through the last chicane. Where is our former race leader, July Sorp, leaving the pits now? We'll go back down to Florian Bauer. He's coming down the front straight. We should see Sorp leave the pits around now. Where is Sorp? Sorp is going to be right ahead. Wow. Florian Bauer just made up almost 4 seconds on the undercut. And now Bauer's back in it for the race lead with Ole Pitschich right behind. And Tom Ray here in P4. Alex Torgrosa is down the order now as well. He lost a lot of time. He is behind Gillian Hardenberg. No, Gillian Hardenberg's farther down. Where is... No, okay, that is Gillian Hardenberg. Why the camera went to Nico Ohl is beyond me. Torgrosa is now behind Gillian Hardenberg as well. So a lot of things have changed as we are halfway into the race now, according to the race director. And all of a sudden, July Sorp, who had a big lead and just drifts through the middle two right-handers, has now got Florian Bauer on the rear end. The tires must be a little too hot. Florian Bauer looking to go on the inside of the hairpin. Nothing doing. They're all pushing each other through. Ole Pitschich and Tom Rayer. We have a four-way battle for the lead. Those tires are not working for Sorp at all. As Alexander Irish dives into the pits, who was our current race leader. But we got a four-way battle after Sorp was dominating that first stint. Sorp lost that whole 4.5 second lead that they had, and now we got a four-way battle. So can Sorp get those tires warmed up and get them going for? Not sure, but there is now a train behind them. This is Mercedes, Aston Martin, and Ferrari with a four-way battle for what will be the race lead. P5 will be Gillian Hardenberg, and P6 will be Alex Torgrosa, as Tom Ray here goes to the inside of Ole Pitschich and makes the move done, but Florian Bauer spins in the chicane, and he takes out Ole Pitschich with him. Not sure if Ray here made contact with Bauer, but Bauer went round, and he took Pitschich with him. So the two of them down the order, and now our championship leader, who was battling for the lead, is now going to have to be under pressure and is holding down what will be P3 or P4. And now Tom Ray here, who hopefully didn't make contact, otherwise he will be in the stewards for sure. It looks, I'm not sure if he's slowing up or whatnot, or if he took damage from that, but Sorp is now 2.2 seconds ahead. And Sorp, who looked like the race lead was going to lose it, or going to lose the race lead there, has got the buffer they need to just run away. So drama at the front of the grid once again here in Tier 2. Now, again, not sure if there was contact. Couldn't really tell from the camera angle. But Ole Pitschich most certainly has a little bit of damage. And so should Florian Bauer. So that's unfortunate, and it's never something you want to see in racing. But right now, interesting enough, Florian Bauer is still holding on to what will be P3. And Pitschich is only down to P6, so it's not the end of the world, but it's certainly not the best because P3 is not better than P1. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. There's still a long race left, 27.5 minutes to go. Behind Pitschich, we got Nico Ohl. It says Dennis Latz. The cameras don't like to seem to fix. Dennis Latz is currently behind Nico Ohl, I believe. Yeah. Wait, no, Dennis Latz is... Where is he? It won't let me switch to him for some reason. Not sure where Dennis Latz is. It's got him listed ahead of Nico Ohl, so he might have disconnected. So that'll probably throw me off a little bit as we continue going on. But yeah, Richie, definitely worth getting into it. So maybe we'll see you next week. We'll have to see. But either way, with all the drama that's happening, July Sorp is the winner out of that. And it's just running away 3.1 seconds ahead. I don't think there's any answer for Sorp. If Sorp can keep it on track, Sorp, it's their race to lose with a 1:59.6. That, I believe, is the fastest lap of the race. I don't think anyone's gone sub 2. No, no one has gone sub 2 so far this race. So July Sorp in a league of their own. Just absolutely flying. Chen's gonna still have to come into the pits ahead, 15.5 seconds ahead, but that shouldn't be much of an issue right now. In third place, Florian Bauer, who's got Gillian Hardenberg gaining. Bauer probably has a little bit of damage, but apparently it's not enough to drop off too much pace. As we look at the order now, as it starts to sort its way out, Nico Ohl should be up to P7, Irish P8, Andrade P9. So Andrade went from being stuck behind one McLaren to getting stuck behind another one. Not what Andrade certainly wanted today, but you know, you can't win them all. The Brazilian, excuse me, had to take a little sip of my drink there. I'm trying to keep my voice from getting too raspy. But the McLaren driver in the 650S doing a fantastic job in the underpowered car, but a lot of work needs to be done still. Speaking of work to be done, Pascal Di Lucia is all on the back of James Callie now. I'm not sure why this camera set likes to not show the car half on roll. Let's pull camera set 2. Yeah, that might be a little better because there's no reason for us to switch to a driver. As Pascal Di Lucia loses the rear end into Spoon, is able to save it just barely. Di Lucia, who was very close to Callie, is going to have to back off a little bit now. He's definitely got more pace than the Lexus ahead, but that was definitely not what you see. Another guy I just noticed not too far behind is Jack Simpson. He's coming out of Spoon now. He's got Adam. No, he does not have. Yeah, he does have Adam DeBeal ahead. I thought that was one of the McLarens. Jack Simpson up to P15 after starting way down the order. In his rearview mirror, he's got Yuri Kalinju, who was running towards the front until the spin in the pit lane. And then we have Shooter 80 in the background as well, with Connor Wright not too far off back either, our pole sitter who had the drive-through at the start of the race. But speaking of the front of the field, July Sorp just had another fastest lap of the race and has 3.9 seconds to Tom Ray here. This Mercedes car is just flying. I mean, this is just a domination right now by Sorp. Once they got the lead, got around Connor Wright, Sorp, due to the drive-through, Sorp was just gone. The pace that Sorp is showing today is not matched at all. Looking at now, Tom Ray here did a 1:59.799 last lap. It says 2 minutes flat. No, it's best, sorry. He did that 2 laps ago. So Tom Ray here was 7/10 slower than Sorp in the last lap. He's got over 1 lap, has similar pace. Some of these other drivers behind can do 59s. Like Florian Bauer did a 59.8 last lap. But still, no one is within 3/10 of Sorp. And these guys are just, they're averaging about 2 flat, while Sorp's averaging 1:59 mid. And this is just an absolutely domination by July Sorp, who's looking to take the first race, their first race win of the season. Would be a huge jump in the championship standings. It would be a jump from 20 points to 120 points. And the rookie driver would take their first career victory in AOR, as long as Sorp can keep it going for the next 22 minutes. But the podium right now is right now Tom Ray here and Florian Bauer, barring any steward increase. But Ray here, currently sitting P4, will close his gap on Bauer. Bauer will stay the championship leader, as his nearest rivals are not getting too many points over him. But Bauer, I'm sure, would have loved to have gotten, or battled at least for the race lead. But unfortunately, there was the spin in the chicane. That we'll keep an eye on that in the steward stuff, and maybe in weeks forward I'll try to keep an update on stewarding inquiries and how they affect any championship standings. So that'll be something we'll keep it in the back of our head. Let's go down the order now to Jack Simpson and Adam DeBeal. Adam DeBeal is leading a 5-car train with Connor Wright now on the back of that train as well. Let's ride on board with Connor Wright. Let's see what he gets. We can see from his hood cam right now. He's only 8/10 behind Shooter, but he was a little farther behind before. And as we saw in qualifying, Wright has a lot of pace. He's got a lot of stability in that car by the looks of it. And he knows that he's faster than these cars in the field right ahead of him. So we'll have to see if Wright can make a move. So let's stay on board for a little bit. Let's see what this the Aston Martin driver can do. As he got 4 cars ahead of him, he's really gaining on Shooter through this first sector. The BMW looking very understeery through that part of the track now with the 2 right-handers. Degner 1 and then Degner 2. Kind of right, all on the back of Shooter now. Can Shooter scoot away? He moves to the right-hand side of the track. Not sure why. It was kind of a sudden move. Connor Wright goes the inside of Shooter. Will he make the move stick? Yes, he will. Shooter leaves him the space, and Shooter got scooted out of the way, and Connor Wright is up to P17, and Shooter does not have an answer to that now. As Wright, once again, working through the field after having the drive-through early on. He's having a good race so far, so if he can keep this momentum up, he should be able to pick off a few more drivers as the race goes on. Another battle in the field. Looks to be the battle for P7 between Nico Ull and Alexander Irish. So, one thing I want to look at right now, these 2 drivers are close, but they're not really close enough to each other. As Irish is kind of keeping Andrade at bay now. I want to look at, now the last driver running is Stuart McLeod. I cannot view Stuart McLeod, I cannot view Mario Marin. So we got Sir Williams. So Dakuza, we have had, by the looks of it, 5 retirements today. Not sure what all the reasonings were. But Stuart McLeod is retired. Mario Marin is retired. Dakuza, by the look, is still on track. Andy Vandervelde is retired. Tobias Gerhardt is on track. Henrik Virtanen, I cannot view. Paulo Lima, okay, I can view because some of these names are not popping right. But then Dennis Latz, who at one point was running in the top 10. He retired as well. He might have disconnected, not sure. But there are a couple guys who it won't let me view, and as you can see, Dakuza is listed as last place now. So we've had 5 or 6 retirements today. Because I think we had 38 actually. The 38th starts. So it looks like 6 retirements. So yeah, that is unfortunate to see that Suzuka is making the moves or making drivers crash out way more than Monza did, surprisingly, but yes. Either way, we'll look back once again at our race leader, July Sorp, still averaging those 59s, still averaging 0.8 a lap faster than Tom Ray here. So that 6.4 second gap, we'll see if Sorp can make it over 10 seconds, but once again, Sorp just flying right now. Gillian Hardenberg in 4th, still stuck behind Florian Bauer. He doesn't have that much damage on that car. The Mercedes, it seems like he didn't have enough straight line speed before to really run down Sorp, but he's got enough straight line speed to keep the likes of Hardenberg and Torgrosa behind. So Torgrosa and Hardenberg kind of stuck there with Ole Pitschich in the background as well. So the field is kind of stagnated towards the front. But down the order right now, Connor Wright, who has been on the move right now, made an interesting move into the hairpin. Probably not the best. It's definitely pointed out in the chat. It wasn't the cleanest of moves. But Shooter did leave him the space, and it got done. Shooter sure didn't think he would go for it there, but Wright it doesn't matter. Wright is up to P16 now. And it looks like ahead of him, Jack Simpson is getting a little agitated behind Adam Dubiel. You saw him moving around a little bit, trying to find a way around, but Dubiel has kind of parked the bus there in P13. Dubiel, last race finished P25. So the Polish driver on for a season best, actually it would be a career best since they are a new driver to AOR, career best 13th position. And now holding back the podium sitter last race of Jack Simpson in the Lamborghini. Simpson is one of a few drivers who we've seen involved in some incidents today, but he has started towards the back of the field, and he's kind of working his way up right now. With Yuri Konjoglu in his rearview mirror, was very quick at the start, but then smacked the entry pit wall. Must have just kind of broke too late and lost the rear end into the pits. As a result, Konjoglu, who is in the top 10, is now down in P15. So, and it's got the Aston Martin of Connor Wright in the rearview mirror. But it's interesting because we know that Kalyanju had a lot of pace early on, and Wright obviously showed a lot of pace, but I think Wright will have some trouble getting around the 120 Aston Martin. But Wright is currently all up on the rear end, so I might have just commentator cursed it at all. Let's go on board with Wright now. He's all on the rear end of the fellow Aston Martin driver. Will the Turkish driver be able to hold off the British driver? Not sure. Simpson is going side by side with Adam Dubiel in the 130R. Simpson's going to back out of it. We're going to go back to TV set 2. Watch from, let's watch from the helicam actually. Simpson is now side by side with Conjuglu. Conjuglu goes way too deep. Connor Wright sweeps around the outside of the exit of the chicane. And Connor Wright up to P15 now. Simpson, who had a very compromised 130R, kind of slowed up Conjuglu, who dropped down as a result. So that was interesting. Simpson went for the move, but then didn't try to make it stick, and as a result, it caused a little bit of chaos behind, but that does bring Shooter back into the fold in the background. You can see him starting to gain a little bit. So now we got a 5-car train here held up by Adam Dubiel, who is kind of just parking the bus right now, which he has every right to do. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on these guys right now as Connor Wright is all on the rear end of Jack Simpson. As Adam Dubiel goes off the track, loses the rear end out of Sector 1, and he is now going to fall behind the train he was holding up, and he now is falling into the clutches of Shooter as Jack Simpson, Connor Wright, and Yuri Conjuglu are all gifted 3 free positions. But now Shooter looking to see if he can make the move work as well on Adam Dubiel, looking for the same move on the inside that Connor Wright did to him, but Adam Dubiel will close the door. Shooter takes a very tight line with Adam Dubiel getting a much better exit, and Dubiel will hold on to the position for now. But that is only after losing 3 positions by going off track, so that is not what Dubiel wanted to have happen. He's going to look to see if he can keep with a 3 ahead. We're showing a lot of pace, but going off track in Spoon will not help either. Dubiel's car is just very unsettled, and by the looks of it, Shooter might have a chance here going into 130R or into the braking zone of the chicane. Shooter's gaining a little bit on him. Not sure if he's got damage on the right side of the car, if his door is just being a little funky on my screen, but Shooter's going to go to the left-hand side of the track into 130R. Does not take the best line through it, and as a result has to back out, and Dubiel will once again be able to hold off as Connor Wright goes on the inside of Jack Simpson into the chicane. Simpson kind of giving Wright a little bit of a squeeze there. They're side by side coming out of the final quarter onto the front straight. Which car has more straight line speed? It looks like the Lamborghini if Jack Simpson has it. Connor Wright right now, he's still got a nose in there, but he's probably going to back out here. He's on the inside. No, he's going to stick it. Simpson will back out, and Simpson will lose the position to Connor Wright. He will lose another position to Nuri Conjuglu on the exit, but they're going to stay side by side going into the S section now. The Aston Martin and the Lamborghini with Simpson barely holding on around the outside into the second S, but Connor Wright making the move stick. And what a move that was into the chicane, the final chicane, and then down the front straight. And then he had the courage to make the move done in turns 1 and 2. So some very, very good driving between the drivers where they're giving each other just enough space. Some very late braking going on. As a result, we're watching a few overtakes as Adam Dubiel is sent off the track and into the wall at the exit of Degner 2 by Shooter. Dubiel looked like he lost the rear end a little bit, and now he just stopped on the exit as he rejoins now. He's definitely got some front end damage there, and Dubiel, who was on track for a career best finish, is going very slowly. With 12.5 minutes left, he will certainly drop down the order. He's going to be behind it by the looks of Jay Feng and maybe even Justin Hooley. Hooley back up to 22nd after dropping down the order early on due to his spin. But Adam Dubiel, who was up in 13th, is now down to P23. So not what he wants to see, but ahead of him, he got overtaken by Shooter, Chris Jones, Simon Ramsager, Frank Pedrazzini, and as Simon Ramsager loses the rear end a little bit on the exit of Spoon, and the Ferrari driver able to hold on to it, but the Audi behind is not able to get enough of an advantage as a result of it. So, but very unfortunate to see Adam Dubiel go into the wall. Shooter gets another position. At what cost? Not sure. It was hard to tell if Dubiel lost rear hander or Shooter gave him a love tap, but Well, again, we'll keep an eye on the steward stuff going forward, so we can kind of let people know what happened there. I could run a replay, but I'm still not 100% comfortable with it. So we'll go back up towards the front right now with Tom Ray here, currently in P2, by himself right now after Florian Bauer's spin. Bauer's got Gillian Hardenberg all on his rear end right now. There's nothing between the 4 drivers right here, between Bauer, Hardenberg, Torregrossa, and Pitchich. And with 11 minutes to go, will one of these drivers decide, hey, I'm going to go for it and try to take that final podium spot, which is an extra about how many points? So the difference between 3rd and 4th is an extra 8 points. And each position these guys can get is an extra 6 or 7 generally. So we'll have to see if one of them decides to make a late move now. But Florian Bauer still being a little bit of a cork in the bottle for the guys behind him. But it's looking right now that the Mercedes cars, all three of the 4 Mercedes, excuse me, are all having fantastic races. The 4th of which is driven as hold on one sec. Hardenberg sends it up the inside of Florian Bauer. Florian Bauer's having none of it as Hardenberg has to back out because Bauer gives him a little bit of a squeeze. Now Alex Torregrossa looking to go around the outside of Hardenberg onto the front straight now. Torregrossa should have enough straight line speed. He's getting a little bit of a tow from Bauer. And Torregrossa is up to P4 after Hardenberg did what I was talking about and went for the move, a very late braking move, made contact, and as a result, lost out. And that is the risk you run in when you drive here in Tier 2, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. Is that if you make the move like that, you're going to make a move like that, you better make it work, because if you don't make it work, you're going to lose a position to the car behind. And that is exactly what just happened to Gillian Hardenberg, as he's down to P5 now, and another Mercedes is now ahead of him. He's got 2 of them ahead with that very bright pink Mercedes, which I do dig that car. That's a very nice car by Alex Torregrossa right there in that pink Mercedes. But either way, Torregrossa, as there's a car off ahead, that is a lapped Ferrari. That is the 35 car of Paweł Jarzbakowski, who's just not had a good day. Sure, it's a day to forget, that's for sure. Florian Bauer passing a little more lap traffic right now. As looks like it's Sir Williams. Yes, they're starting to run into a little bit of lap traffic now. So there's been a lot of cars who've had some issues today where they've been struggling, falling off track and whatnot. And it's looking like now it's giving us a little bit of lap traffic as a result. But the guys up front with July Sorp, Tom Ray here, Florian Bauer, and Alex Torregrossa, and the rest of them, all able to deal with the lap traffic pretty good. The guys who are lapped are being very curious, which is always good to see. But yes, we still have 8.5 minutes to go, so anything can still happen. We saw last race, and under 5 minutes to go, we had a 4-way battle for the lead, and then it ended in tears for the likes of Tom Ray here, after he had a chance of winning and then spun off on the exit of Ascari. So with 8.5 minutes now, the battle for first position may be over, but the battle, and same with second place, but the battle for third is certainly not, as Gillian Hardenberg's trying to break the toe of Ole Pitchich. He's weaving a little bit. The rule states that if Pitchich is not close enough by the time they get into the braking zone to break the toe, that Gillian Hardenberg's allowed to do that. And so Hardenberg will hold on to the position. Pitchich got very close, but was not able to close up enough because that Ferrari does have some nice straight line speed to it. But now that has freed up Alex Torregrossa to attack Florian Bauer. Now with Torregrossa, who showed to have a decent amount of straight line speed before, I'm sure he wants a podium today. And he's looking to have his best result of the season. So we'll have to see what the Spanish driver can do, if he can displace his championship rival. So Tom Ray here certainly hopes that Florian Bauer will get past, as Ray here, currently sitting in P4 in the championship and not far behind Bauer, will use all the positions he can get. So I'll have to keep an eye on this as well. A little farther down the order, we got Nuri Konjaglu stuck behind Jack Simpson once again. Connor Wright has kind of dropped these guys a little bit. He's showing the pace that we thought he had. A little bold driving by Connor Wright, that's for sure. But either way, Wright has gotten back up to 13th and has made a very nice recovery drive after his early drive through for what must have been speeding before the lights went out. So not what you want to have happen when you're starting from pole position. looking throughout the field as well. Let's see if there's anyone else we could give a little bit of love today to. We haven't really talked about that much. Trying to keep it up. Let's go to John Sebastian Castaneda, who last race finished. I believe they finished 33rd. Because I have 2 names cut off. And that's one of the names I do not believe I can see, and with how long the name it is, it should be very obvious. Yes. So John Sebastian finished 33rd last race. So P12 is a huge improvement for the French driver. And with 6 seconds to Connor Wright, as long as they don't make a mistake, John Sebastian should have that position under wrapped and should take home a nice amount of points by the end of today. But looking up towards the front now, Alex Torregrossa still 2 tenths behind Florian Bauer, but not close enough to make a move happen at this time. So keep an eye on it, but nothing's working at the moment for him. Yeah, so hopefully one last time, the stream has been good today. I will double check the quality of the stream after the race so I can continue doing improvements, like one of the improvements I was able to do today, and thanks to the help of the Tier 1 streamers. And I can see Bauer, he's flashing a car ahead that I believe is a lapped car. Well, actually no, he's not flashing anyone, he's just flashing for, I guess, for the stream maybe. So he's just flashing to us right now and saying hello. But either way, I was able to figure out how to change drivers without having to leave the broadcasting client. I'd like to thank the Tier 1 commentators, Rage and Safso, for helping me out with that. And so, as we continue to optimize the stream, if there's any suggestions, just please let me know, because we're trying to give you guys as much action as possible. As there's the car of, I believe, Sir Williams off the track once again in Spoon, and he has returned to the pits. His day after starting P10 has just gone from bad to worse to horrible. So it's not as bad, but it looks like Dennis Latz who disconnected. But either way, you never want to drop down the order. But one guy who has had a good race is Marlon Andrade. He's up to P9 now. Brazilian who definitely has some serious pace, but has gimped himself by giving him the McLaren 650S. He's currently sitting in P9. He's starting to run down Alexander Irish, who's also on the back of Nico Old. They have a lapped car in front of him. It's one of the Ferraris. Not sure who exactly that is, but will he yield for all 3 drivers? Yes, he kind of yielded for Andrade. Kind of held him up a little bit, but Andrade trying to run down Irish and Nico Old. Old not showing a lot of pace at the end of the stint right now. We might have a 3-way battle for P7, folks. So we got a battle for P3 and a battle for P7. So a lot of stuff kicking off with 3 minutes 45 seconds left. But one thing that's been constant this whole race, July Sorp, currently 10 seconds clear of their nearest rival, who is Tom Bray here in the Ferrari. Sorp, who's been having a fantastic drive with 3.5 minutes to go, should have 2 more laps after this. So it's got 2 laps and about a sector to go of the race. And Sorp, if they can hang on, will take their maiden victory in AOR. So let's keep an eye on it. Hopefully Sorp can finish it out strong. Hopefully no commentator curses, but as of right now, it's Sorp's to lose. Looking through the order as well, got Simon Ramsayer. He's currently all in the back of Jay Fang. The Chinese driver Jay Fang really started down the order, has made his way up to P19, but he's got Ramsayer and Justin Hooley, who are an identical looking Ferraris. Not sure, 100% sure if they're teammates. No, they're not listed teammates. They might be teammates now, but they weren't listed as of a week ago as teammates. But either way, Jay Fang, cork in the bottle for the 2 Ferrari drivers behind. Fang trying to hold them up, but Simon Ramsayer is looking mighty quick, and then so is Justin Hooley. Hooley has been on also somewhat of a recovery drive. He's gaining on him as well. Fang also has Frank Pedrazzi in his sights as well, so if he can kind of close up in this last 2 laps, he might be able to make a move and improve on his position, but he's going to have to show a lot of pace with 2 laps to go. Looking towards the front of the field now, Alexander Irish is currently trying to battle with Nico Ohl, but he's got Marlon Andrade looking around his inside, doesn't try to go for the move, but these cars have nothing between them as they exit the first corner and go into the S section now. This battle we're going to keep an eye on right now because it's the closest battle we have on track, because Florian Bauer is still holding up Alex Torregrossa, but Andrade has closed the gap on Alexander Irish and Nico Ohl. And now we have a three-way battle for 7th position, and if one of these drivers makes a mistake, the other two will pounce on the opportunity with 1 2/3 laps to go. So with, yes, 0.8 of a second between the three of them, that is a very small gap. And you can't even count out James Cowley, who's in the background there on the Lexus. If one of these drivers makes a big enough of a mistake, Cowley is there to pounce. But as Irish gets really close to Ohl into the hairpin, he is almost pushing him through the hairpin. Not quite, but he's right there on the rear ends. These three drivers coming out of the final corner will definitely be battling it out. As speaking of coming up to the final corner, July Sorp right now is entering the final chicane right now. So the last lap of the race will start once they cross the finish line now. Tom Rayer is in second. Florian Bauer has Alex Torregrossa in his rearview mirrors. Will Torregrossa try to send it up the inside into the chicane? He's only going to have 2 more times around this track, this being one of them. Florian Bauer will hold on to the position now. Leader is now on the final lap officially. And Bauer has got 3 cars in his rearview mirror. Does he have enough fuel to really blow down the straight and enough straight line speed to hold on to the position? Doesn't look like Torregrossa is going to make a move into turn 1. The hold in position now. What about Alexander Irish, Nico Ohl, and Marlon Andrade? They are single file right now as they cross the line. No one's close enough to make a move on each other. They will hold position for now with Ohl in 7th, Irish in 8th, and Andrade in 9th. But there's only 7/10 between the three of them, and they are almost as close as they were last lap at this time. Jack Simpson still has Neri Conjuglu behind him. He's weaving a little bit down the straight to see if he can break the toe, which once again he's allowed to do, but there's nothing going between the legs of them. Going back up to Florian Bauer now, who is still holding on to 3rd place. He's got some feisty cars behind him, and with this being the last lap, will Torregrossa try to make a move into that last chicane? It's about the only other overtaking point on the track, as 130R has not proven to be a good enough spot. Florian Bauer gets a horrible exit, and he is completely stopped on track. He must have stalled the car there for a second, as he is down to P6. He lost his podium, and our championship leader might have just lost the championship lead. Not sure how he managed to stall the car there, but he must have overshifted too much, and as a result, or short shifted too much, and as a result, he's down to P6. Now Torregrossa is currently in P3 as he loses the rear end out of Spoon. It is his podium position now, with Gillian Hardenberg and Ole Pitschich in the rear mirror. Pitschich looking to make the move around the outside of 130R. He will not. He'll be right on the rear end now. They are bumper to bumper, but quickly, real fast, as they go into the chicane. July Sorp will cross the finish line and win the Japanese Grand Prix here at Suzuka. July Sorp with their maiden victory. But let's look back now. Gillian Hardenberg, he is currently alongside Ole Pitschich, who was able to get around him in the last chicane, but it's a straight line sprint to the finish as Pitschich takes the position home and will finish P4 with Bauer down in P6. Nico Ohl will hold on to P7 with Alexander Irish P8, Marlon Andrade P9. James Cowley will round out our top 10. That was a very exciting last lap there, folks, but it is not over. Connor Wright in P13. Jack Simpson next across the line with Nearly Conjuglu in 15th. Shooter down in P16th as the final position, finishing, or as the next finisher crossing the line. Now I'm losing my words because of all the excitement. Chris Jones finishing P17th on the day. Not a bad drive for the Lamborghini driver. Frank Padrozzini currently coming across the line in P18 in the Audi with Justin Hooley, and looks like Ben Blakemore in the background, so Jay Fang has dropped off even more. Not sure what happened there, because we saw Hooley battling with Jay Fang and Simon Ramsayer. Again, not sure what happened there. Jay Fang in 21st. Jan Climbs 22nd. Simon Ramsayer 23rd. Paolo Lima currently battling Samir Foch out of the final corner. They're going to go side by side across the line. Does the Ferrari have enough straight line speed to get around Lima? Lima looks like they're ahead and crossing the line. Lima gets it by 67 thousandths of a second. That is how it will finish today, folks. July Sorp wins the Japanese Grand Prix around Suzuka for Tier 2 with a 10.4 second victory. An absolutely dominating performance for the Mercedes driver. And Tom right here, able to finish P2 on track today after having a pretty bad finish to Monza, to say it nicely. Is now going to finish second place and is going to go double file next to Florian Bauer, his championship rival, and Ole Pitschitz behind him as well. Pitschitz, who had a very good race as well. Struggled towards the end there, but was able to nudge out P4 and get around Gillian Hardenberg in the last chicane. He was all over him going into it, but we weren't able to watch it fully because it's only fair to congratulate the race leader as they cross the line. July Sorp takes home the victory today here at Suzuka, and I must say that it was a very impressive drive for the Mercedes driver today. What happened to Bauer? Let me see if I can pull it up on the replay in game. So we're gonna go. Yeah. So with Bauer originally, he had two incidents that hampered him down. So there's the one incident in early on in the race where there was some kind of contact in the final chicane. Well, I'm not even sure if there was contact, to be honest. There was some kind of collision in the final chicane. It was shortly after the pit stop, so he was right on the rear of Bauer. Okay, yeah, okay. So I do have a little bit of a replay. We can look here. So there was a four-way battle for the lead. July Sorp, Bauer, Tom Ray, Ole Pitschitz, and Tom Ray here. Tom Ray here breaks really late, a little too late. Does make contact with the rear end of Bauer. Bauer spins out Ole Pitschitz, and that is what gifted Tom Ray here P2 and then dropped them down the order. Later on in the race, another highlight we had to look at is Florian Bauer in what looked like the final corner. Let's take a look at what happened there. Yeah, here we go. So coming through into the final, let's pull it on a replay cam. We'll go to the heli cam. Looks like they shut off the engine by accident, to be honest. Yeah, so the revs. I'm not 100% sure what happened there, to be honest. The car just looked like it died. So that is weird. We'll have to see if we can, get any comments there, because that was very weird. I've never seen it, but yeah, that's unfortunate for Bauer, who finishes in P6. But our final podium finishing positions: July Sorp with the race victory, a dominant performance. Tom Ray here, P2. And rounding out our podium, the Spanish driver, Alex Torgrosa. Hats off to the three of them for their podium today. Thank you, everyone, for watching today, and we hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.